the esteemed exhibitors, business visitors, audience, and participants from India and Singapore with the FICCI and SICCI webinar on business and investment opportunities in the state of Karnataka. This has been organized as a part of the SICCI Singapore Exhibition Showcase being hosted on the FICCI virtual platform, FICCI Annual Expo. Just to give you a background, the FICCI Annual Expo is the largest ever virtual expo from India and was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, on December 12, 2020. It has been an year-long expo continuing till December 2021, where multiple exhibitions across 54 sectors, 10 different state pavilions and international pavilions, along with business visitors from 83 countries, have already participated in the last few months. The webinar today is focused on business and investment opportunities in the state of Karnataka for Singapore companies and investors. And we are honored to have the presence of esteemed industry doyens from both Karnataka and Singapore to share with us the opportunities and the way forward for doing business in Karnataka. On that note, I would like to invite Mr. Manish Tripathi, Vice Chairman, Director and Board Member, DigiLife Technologies Limited, to deliver the opening remarks. Mr. Manish Tripathi, please.
Thank you, Navita, for the very warm welcome. Before we start, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome from the side of Singapore Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. We welcome Gunjan Krishna, Mr. Gunjan Krishna, IAS, Commissioner of Industrial Development and Director of Industries and Commerce, Government of Karnataka. Mr. Ulhas Kamath. Kamath Sahab, good to see you again in about 2 weeks' time. It's been a great 2 weeks for us, meeting you twice. Chairman, FICCI, Karnataka State Council. Ms. Uma Reddy, Managing Director, High-Tech, Magnetics and Electronics Private Limited. Mr. Mohammed Athar, Partner and Leader, Invest India, PwC. We work very closely, SICCI works very closely with Invest India. I think we've had 2-3 webinars with them in the last 2 years, 1.5 years. And Mr. Anand Sudarshan, Founder and Director, Silvent Advisors Private Limited. And of course, our SICCI members and the 6 exhibitors and partners who have made this e-pavilion possible. So welcome all our friends. My name is Manish Tripathi, and I'm a board member of SICCI. It is also my honor to welcome the 2 board members who are part of the committee who made this happen. So Mr. Kishore Daryanani, Kishore Bhai, if I see you, I just saw you, you are there, and Ms. Purnima Kamath. I must tell everybody and the guests here that Singapore from today went on a heightened alert. And that is the reason why all of us are in different locations. I only have Mr. Johnson, CEO of SICCI. He's right here with me, but we are doing social distancing. Johnson, just say hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to the FICCI Expo.
So sorry for the last minute changes. We all had to disperse. So we can only have 2 people in a room. But it's a great day, right? We are all here. We are talking to each other, as Umaji just said. If I talk about Karnataka, it will be something like preaching the choir, Karnataka team is right there, but this is more for the SICCI members and exhibitors who are listening as audience. So kindly bear with us. One of the largest destinations for Singapore FDI, Karnataka is one of the largest destinations. In particular, Bangalore. I mean, we needn't speak so much about Bangalore. Everybody knows about this. It is among the top 3 destinations in India for Singapore investors, which have Singapore companies have invested in the IT park, residential townships, and logistics sector, specifically amongst other sectors. Karnataka is well connected. Some facts about the infrastructure. Well connected to all major markets with 2 international airports, close to 361,000 kilometers of road network, and 6,083 kilometers of rail network. The state has a coastline of about 300 kilometers with 12 minor ports and 1 major port in Mangaluru. So Singapore investors and our partners, the exhibitors, they should know that it is very well connected, and it's called the Silicon Valley of the world, of India, as everybody knows. Bangalore and Mumbai Economic Corridor and Chennai-Bangalore Industrial Corridor pass through the state. So it's a very important city-state where major important corridors, road transport corridors pass through. Karnataka stands fourth in merchandise exports in the national export basket. Exports from the state stood around 17.4 billion in 2018-19, which is 5.3% of Indian total exports. The state stands third among Indian states in terms of FDI inflows, attracting FDI worth of about $41 billion in 2000, from between 2000 to 2019. Very important focus area for Karnataka is electric vehicles and electric mobility, where the state and the country, India as a country, is promoting EVs strongly with battery manufacturing, charging station infrastructure all around. Karnataka is home to the world's fourth largest technological clusters. It has the second fastest growing startup ecosystem in the world. And many of our exhibitors are startups or Series A, Series B, successful startups growing into full-blown companies. Karnataka is proudly the first state to announce the establishment of a dedicated startup cell. The Karnataka Startup Cell aims to promote Karnataka as the ultimate startup destination in the world. Its vision is to create a world-class startup ecosystem. The SICKI Singapore Showcase, as Navita ji said, has exhibitors, and these 6 carefully chosen exhibitors will be able to showcase and then facilitate a two-way investment program, or at least a dialogue following this session. So they will give a snapshot of what they can do for Karnataka, and then we will also learn what else Karnataka can bring to Singapore through these channels. We also have close to 1,000 members. Many of them have been invited, and they would be viewing this Singapore SICKI FICKI Showcase Week. We hope we nurture better understanding and closer working relationship so both companies in Singapore and Karnataka can internationalize and localize in each other's markets seamlessly and securely. With that, I pass it back to Ms. Navita to call upon the other dignitaries to say a few words. Navita ji, back to you.
Thank you, Manishji. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. On that note, I would like to invite for sharing his remarks with us, Mr. Ulhas Kamath, Chairman, FICKI Karnataka State Council and Joint Managing Director, Jyoti Labs Limited. May I request you to deliver the opening remarks, sir?
Thank you. Mr. Manisha Tripathi, Vice Chairman, SICKI, Ms. Uma Reddy, Managing Director, High-Tech Magnetics and Electronics Private Limited, and also the co-chair of FICKI Karnataka State Council, Mr. Mohammed Athar, Partner and Leader, Invest India, PwC, Mr. Anand Sudarshan, again, is our past chairman and founder director of Silverant Advisors Private Limited, Ms. Navita Meya, Director of FICKI Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely happy to be here today with the August business community from India, more specifically from Karnataka and Singapore, at today's webinar on business and investment opportunities in Karnataka, organized by SICKI and FICKI to showcase and explore the opportunities which are mutually beneficial to both our countries. Undoubtedly, Karnataka is one of the premier states of India, which has been very successful in anchoring diverse sectors of manufacturing, IT, aerospace, biotechnology, and pharma, to name few. It is a hub of India startup capital, where almost 80% of the startups are originated. In the year 2020, the first quarter of 2021 has been a year which we had never seen in the past because of the COVID pandemic. And like any parts of the world, Indian manufacturing industry also felt the impact. And along with the decline in production, forced shutdowns due to lockdowns, again, the first and the second wave had a significant dip in manufacturing and all economic activities. But the alacrity of resumption of business and manufacturing activities in Karnataka can be a role model for many other states to emulate. From Government of Karnataka, especially led by the Industry Department, Ms. Gunjan Krishna Madam, rose to the occasion to deal with the unprecedented crisis of the lockdown. Their exemplary services during the pandemic period are truly praiseworthy. FICCI has been working very closely with the able team of officials who are dedicated nodal officers from the Ministry of Industry to address every resolvable issue of the industry and commerce across the state, and we got immense support and comfort to stand up during the unprecedented crisis. Karnataka has unique features which has been providing a strong base of the business for the business to thrive, whether it is defense, aerospace, IT-enabled services, food processing, pharma, healthcare, automobile, FMCG, and the textile and apparel industry are the largest employment providing sectors in India, and 20% of the India's apparel trade is supplied from Karnataka. All these sectors have strong backward linkages to the digital technology as well. The state also offers excellent climate for expats and international businessmen to operate in the state, as all required amenities like the best of the international schools, best healthcare systems, and the state-of-the-art airport facilities, etc., offer seamless and hassle-free business environment. The hospitality and the tourism sector also adding the dynamism for effective entrepreneurship in the state. All this make Karnataka as one of the most preferred destinations of both domestic and FDIs in India. There are several factors which are acting as an influencer in making Karnataka as a robust industrial and manufacturing state. Important among them is the technology, its wider use by the manufacturing units. At present, the digital technologies like Industry 4.0, IoT, process automation, and other advanced operations available from IT firms which are already operating in the state. So even though a brick and mortar manufacturing unit wants to adopt the latest technology, it's available here itself. Such complementaries are one of the key factors for the future growth of manufacturing in the state. The recognition of Karnataka as most advanced state of innovation under the India Innovation Index 2019 has underscored how information and technology and the startup economy at the core of the Karnataka's emergence as a leader of innovation among all major states in the country. Karnataka is the state where highest number of startups are operating in India, and more details you will get it from Anand Sudarshan. As more and more companies prefer Karnataka and R&D base for their operation in India, it's a real testimony of its capability. The second wave of pandemic just showing signs of slowing down, and business becomes to its usual vibrancy mode. I'm sure it will not take much time to bounce back, as we are used to such shutdowns and learning the models of bringing the back to the normalcy. The healthcare system is also extremely efficient in Karnataka dealing with the pandemic, and preparations are very swiftly going to deal with any kind of such pandemic waves in the future. And Karnataka state has already put in a task force to manage COVID wave 3 in case if it is to be. I'm sure India and Singapore have a lot there to collaborate, especially in technology sector. These interactions would be very helpful to understand more about the potentials for the future. I wish to thank organizers to come up with this kind of a fantastic program to accelerate the economic cooperation between the two great nations. With that, I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity, and over to you, Navita. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamath. Thank you so much for giving us such an excellent overview again of the state of Karnataka. And I believe the COVID-19 crisis, which is already becoming the biggest disruptor in the world, and this has kind of precipitated the overall trend and the engagement in technology per se. Everyone has realized the importance or the fast pace of adoption of technologies and leveraging innovative technologies rather than taking the traditional routes. So, and there is so much opportunity that the state of Karnataka offers, being the technology hub in the country, be it in terms of the overall infrastructure or the support or the engagement and that comes along with it. So thank you so much for sharing all this information with us, sir. And from here, we would like to now move forward to a brief panel discussion on business opportunities in the state of Karnataka. I will quickly take this opportunity to briefly introduce the panelists here as well. We have Ms. Uma Reddy with us, Managing Director, High Tech Magnetics and Electronics Private Limited, the Managing Director. And she's a first generation technocrat entrepreneur who started her career while at college and manufactures custom built transformers, coils, inductors, electronic sub-assemblies, and many other subcomponents. Her company has won the Performance Award as the best supplier from GE Medical Systems South Asia in 2001 and the Kirloskar Best Supplier Award in 2005, amongst many others. She's also won a number of national awards and has been associated with various women entrepreneurship related initiatives as well. We also have with us Mr. Anand Sudarshan, founder and director, Sylvant Advisors Private Limited. He's also an independent director at NIIT. He currently advises companies and entities in the education sector and is also a fund advisor with TVS Capital Funds and has been active in supporting the Government of India in policy formulation. He will be speaking with us today on the opportunities in IT, education, and the startup sector in the state of Karnataka. We're also joined for this panel discussion by Mr. Mohammad Athar, partner PricewaterhouseCoopers. He has been heading PwC's capital projects and infrastructure practice in India and has more than 15 years of experience of formulating strategy and development plans for industrial corridors, industrial parks and SEZs, and urban development projects. He will be bringing forth the investment opportunities in the state of Karnataka post-COVID. And of course, we are joined by Mr. Manish Tripathi, Vice Chairman SICI, Chairman of International and Bilateral Trade Nations Incubation and Startups in both subcommittees of SICI. He's also the Director and Board Member for Digital Technologies Limited, an SGX listed company. A global citizen who's worked in more than 10 countries, he brings multifarious experience to the table and is currently managing about $300 million company plus listed company called Sevak Limited, which operates in telecom, IT, system integration, and electronic vehicles. And on that note, may I request Ms. Uma Reddy to take over the session and moderate the session, ma'am. Over to you, please. We can't hear you, ma'am. You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Navita, for inviting us for this discussion today. And thank you for this opportunity to moderate this session. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Gunjan Krishna, our Commissioner for Industrial Development and Director for Industries and Commerce, could not join us, but in absentia. Mr. Manish Tripathi, Vice Chairman SICI, Mr. Kishore, also the Vice Chairman of SICI, Mr. Ulhas Kamath, the Chairman for Karnataka State Council FICI, Mr. Mohammad Athar, Partner and Leader Invest India PwC, and Mr. Anand Sudarshan. It was good to see him after a long time again on this virtual platform, Founder and Director, Sylvant Advisors Private Limited, Ms. Navita Mayer, Director of FICI Singapore. Namaste, good afternoon, good morning. Good morning to and good afternoon to all the delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just set the tone before I get the speakers to speak, and they're the experts on the subject who will be talking, Mr. Anand Sudarshan and Mr. Mohammad Athar. I just wanted to brief about the role of India and India-Singapore and specifically the Karnataka-Singapore Pact. So India has always been and will always be an important economic partner for Singapore, and that's how it has been, because of the economic engagement that we have had, and it has been also been anchored by that comprehensive economic cooperation agreement that which had come into effect since June 2005. In 2017, Singapore has been our 5th largest trading partner worldwide and the 3rd largest trading partner in the ASEAN region. And Singapore has always been India's top source of foreign direct investment into our country. For India, it has always been that our startups have been a great resource And Singapore offers a great opportunity, not just to do things in Singapore, but also as a channel, because it forms an alliance that can access a much larger network in the ASEAN region. Startups interested in working in partnerships are those who are wanting to go to Singapore or Southeast Asia or work with specific partners will get an opportunity to do so. It creates another channel for them to access a much larger network, especially for startups who want to grow. India is producing its own successful models of startups, and our chairman, Mr. Ullas Kamath, also mentioned, and also Mr. Manish Tripathi, the vice chairman of SICKI, had also mentioned the startup culture, especially not only in India, especially in the state of Karnataka, and of course focusing on Bangalore. And people who have founded startups over a period of time, we have seen them grow. They've exited, they've come back to invest, again mentor, and then again start new ventures. And we've got a whole lot of serial entrepreneurs thanks to this effort. So this shows that we have a system that has been very successful. It's quite robust, and it is actually what you have seen in the Silicon Valley globally. It is a good sign that shows that the system can start to mature and there is a flow of talent and resources. So in the new era of digital manufacturing and the measurement of economic impact, which has changed from asset and physical developments to a digital ecosystem, the main driver will be in the digital space now. And this creation of new values where Karnataka and Singapore can collaborate strongly. Many of the companies today do not own physical spaces anymore, but they have virtual connects and are creating that virtual ecosystem, which has a lot of newer values. While we are entering the next phase of economic cooperation in terms of overall system, creating a strong network is important. In particular, Asia needs a very strong innovation because it is a fast growing region and urbanization is taking place at unprecedented rate. We need solutions in terms of urban living, transportation, security, batteries, EVs, and the new technologies. We can learn a lot from Singapore and their system of innovation in urban development and seeding innovation for growth and development has been definitely something to look out for. Karnataka has great potential and 80% of innovation and technology happens in this state of Karnataka, especially in Bangalore. It is time to create a mutually beneficial entrepreneurial collaboration. So accounting for 40% of India's R&D centers, Karnataka is now a global leader in technological innovation, and it has dedicated facilities for various clusters, which ensures a robust research and development in the state. Karnataka is home to many research pioneers. Google has its first engineering center outside of US here, focusing on AI and machine learning. Intel also has its largest design center outside of US, focusing on 5G. We have General Electric's largest R&D center outside of US, focusing on reverse innovation and IoT. We have Samsung's largest R&D center outside of South Korea, focusing on Samsung Gears and AI virtual assistant. Additionally, the state has also been paving the way for several aviation research organizations and is working on establishing a research center for EVs, which is the future. I cannot finish my talk by saying, not mentioning MSMEs, which form the backbone, and Karnataka has over 800,000 MSMEs in the state, which support both backward and forward linkages and help a much more robust focus on business development and industrial growth in the state. The emerging era, of course, is technology driven, and distance has become only a measure in the Google Maps because we have moved out of that and distance no longer matters. And we have most of the exercises are now being done digitally as we move forward, and we do not lose any time in this process. So today we have a very impressive panel of speakers who have been literally experts in this field, who have been working in the forefront of technology, innovation, economic, and business management. So cross-country experts who have been driving their organizations and leading collaborations, it would be worthy for us to hear them first speak, their perceptions of the emerging era of cooperation and business making. And thereafter, I would then ask the two speakers to first speak first, and then later we can have questions on various aspects. So I would now like to invite Mr. Mohammad Attar, partner and leader, Invest India PwC, to first speak, and thereafter I would invite Mr. Anand Sudarshan, founder and director of Sylvan Technologies, to speak. Over to you, Mr. Attar. Thank you.
So, thank you, Ms. Uma. Glad for such a great context which you have set for all of us. A good morning to all of you on the panel as well as people who have joined from Singapore. It's always exciting to be on a panel with the Singaporean investors. I've had a good fortune of working with many Singaporean companies and understand the discipline with which they go about making investment decisions, as well as the way they approach looking at an opportunity. And accordingly, I will try to spend my next few minutes discussing some of them. Just as a quick 10-second introduction, I've been with PwC for the last 13 years. I focus on helping governments develop an ecosystem for manufacturing and services, as well as we help private sector companies who are looking to expand and come to India, basically cross-border FDI, and what kind of challenges and thought process they bring in as we look at options. So from a supply side as well as demand side, we have been working with many manufacturing and services companies. When we talk about Karnataka and Singapore together, what we realize is that they have a natural alignment across a set of opportunities. And that's what makes this whole conversation quite exciting from multiple dimensions. One of the strengths of Singapore as a country lies in its ability to do high value productive manufacturing, focused on a set of sectors primarily driven by technology, media, telecom sectors. And they have been a world leader around each of those sectors. Likewise, if you look at India, within India, where is the place one can think about electronics design, fab design, biotech production, aerospace and defense manufacturing, even metal-driven industries like machine tools? One would come to one single answer, which would be around Karnataka. So around the thematics which Singapore has mastered and been a world leader, those thematics within India, Karnataka is the state which has been doing extremely well on these elements. And more recently, the whole focus on electric vehicle to promote lithium-ion battery manufacturing brings it much more focused as a state where Singaporean investors can look at. Now, why this is important is if I take a step back and if you look at all the reports that have come, what COVID has done to the world is that earlier, a lot of jobs which investors used to give to consultants like us was driven by economic efficiency. In the boardroom, the topmost discussion was driven by which location we should go, which brings us the highest profitability. But COVID showed us that the diversity of our supplier base, the diversity of our markets is very critical because we want to bring resilience in our supply chains. We want to bring resilience in our manufacturing. And this has opened a huge opportunity for a lot of countries, especially developing countries, if they can get the ecosystem and policy right, to attract new investors. Is the movement around FDI happening? Certainly it's happening. A lot of companies are reshoring, moving to different countries to essentially bring diversity in their supply chains. And that's what countries like India are using for their benefit. And as you would have seen, and for a lot of people who are active in India, they would have heard about it. But for a lot of people who are not in India, the government of India recently came out with a scheme which is called Production Linked Incentive Scheme. Essentially, the Production Linked Incentive Scheme is giving a cash incentive around manufacturing in India. So what happens if you are coming to India based on your annual turnover between 5 to 6 to 7 based on the sector, and I don't want to give a specific number here, but just to give you the concept, you can get a cash incentive linked to your turnover. So it's essentially a turnover based cash incentive. And Government of India rolled out around 10 sectors where they saw a possibility to attract both national investors to expand, as well as global investors to come to India for Indian market or to expand for global markets. And these are sectors, again, which are quite aligned to the strength of Karnataka. These are in sectors like textile, advanced chemistry cell, LED, solar photovoltaic module cell, white goods, LED manufacturing. So right now, some of them, the applications have been closed, but many of them are open. And I would very strongly recommend to a lot of people to read about the PLI scheme, because if there was a differential about saying that manufacturing in India is not as competitive as a competing location, but once one applies the PLI schemes, a lot of business cases have been created. Just to give you an example, Pegatron has recently used PLI scheme to come to India. So likewise, one can think about exploring India around these sectors. So one key piece which is right now being very attractive is the technology, media, and telecom sector. The good thing about Karnataka is that Karnataka also came out with its own industrial policy to incentivize based on turnover to manufacturers. So beyond the central government incentive scheme which is available, investors also have state industrial policy to leverage, and they can use both to think about investments in the country. And right now, it's a very attractive time to think about India in many of these sectors, as I spoke about. So that's one big area around manufacturing where we are seeing huge growth. The other big area which we are seeing is whole focus on biotech, vaccination. India is going to be a big hub. It needs a lot of focus on research and development. And that's where, again, we saw a set of schemes that are promoting India as a destination. But also, we also saw a set of initiatives around India. The third piece, which we saw quite actively promoted in our country, is textile and apparel. Just 1 second, please. The third piece, as I was talking about, was on apparels and textile, and that's a huge opportunity area. We have lost some bit of our competitiveness recently to countries like Bangladesh, but as Bangladesh emerged as from a low cost country to a developing country, a lot of policy support which they had are going away, which is bringing back the focus on India as a country for manufacturing. So that's the third big area within manufacturing. If I move away from manufacturing and think about services, clearly research and development everyone spoke about, and that's a big area for the state to deliver on, and Singaporean investors to think about. The other big areas which we are seeing that are emerging, a lot of new investments coming is one related to financial services and also especially around data centers. So data centers are emerging a big opportunity area for investors in our country. We have seen huge investments come from various players. Essentially, a lot of renewable energy manufacturers have aligned with financial services players and tech players. And what a better place than Karnataka to explore for data centers, because it's a hub for a lot of tech work. So that's emerging on the services sector as a big area. The other big area which we are seeing, especially driven by Karnataka's focus on tourism. Now, tourism, especially ecotourism, is a big opportunity area. We are seeing a set of clusters being developed in and around Karnataka major districts, which could be, the whole Malnad region, especially Shivamoga is focusing on wellness. We have many other places which are focusing on coastal tourism. And one of the finest set of creating destination-based tourism, a lot of learning can be there from Singapore. And then that's again an area one can look at on the services side. Finally, the last area which I want to talk about is that as we think about new investments, whether for services or for manufacturing, it requires good ecosystem to be there. And accordingly, we are seeing large investment opportunities for ecosystem players also. So whether it's industrial park players who can come and set up new industrial clusters in joint venture with government of Karnataka, with its key agencies like KIADB, which are focusing on developing an industrial clusters ecosystem, or even if it's about services park, IT parks, even plug and play facilities, we are seeing a much higher demand for companies or ecosystem players which are focusing on coming to India not to set up an entire manufacturing base, but being in India where they can get plug and play facilities, they can be in a rental scheme. And that's an area which is seeing a lot of interest of private equity to come into our country. It is seeing a lot of new companies coming in, developing that kind of industrial ecosystem. In India, we have already seen Ascendas being very active on the services side. We have seen Semcorp and Singbridge being active in developing industrial ecosystem. And there is more opportunity for companies like this and more to come from Singapore and then deliver on industrial ecosystems, whether for the purpose of industrial zones, clusters, storage, warehousing, even plug and play facilities. Why this will be a large opportunity? Because the state has picked certain large projects, whether it's the Chennai-Bangalore industrial corridor to talk about, where around Tumkur there's good focus, or around Mysore there's a big focus, or even around Bangalore airport, where many new industrial clusters are coming, focused only on electronics and electronics supply chain. Those are the set of opportunities where people with interest in developing an ecosystem for manufacturing or supporting logistics, there could be a large set of opportunities to come. And government of Karnataka has been very, very active in looking for partnerships in joint venture routes on leasing to look at options by which investors can be onboarded in a format which is conducive to them. These kinds of ecosystem opportunities are existing. So to summarize, what I wanted to share was right from manufacturing opportunities to services, and even if we are not a direct manufacturer service provider and are involved in developing an ecosystem for these activities, there's plenty of opportunities and no better place than Karnataka to look at it. So I will stop here. Thanks for this opportunity. I hope this is useful for people. Uma, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attar. And you'll be holding on because the questions will be at the end of the session. And thank you for setting the context. I mean, you really covered about the policies that support industrial development in the state of Karnataka, the government support, and also the many opportunities that come about thanks to the ecosystem that is already there. So thank you, Mr. Attar, for your talk. I will now invite Mr. Anand Sudarshan. He is the founder and director of Sylvant Advisors, a good friend of Vicky. So look forward to your talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My thanks to Siki and Vicky for inviting me to share my thoughts. A lot has been said already, so I'm going to keep it as short as I can before we open it up for questions. So let me start by just mentioning something. I personally believe it is when thousands of hours of thousands of days, thousands of hours of preparation meets one moment of opportunity, magic happens, right? And the list that you've mentioned, Uma and Mr. Attar, you laid out, to me, relates to the enormous amount of preparation that has gone in building a symbiotic relationship between Singapore and Karnataka. Bangalore in particular, but Karnataka as a whole. And I believe, we are now going to be having moments of opportunity. And when entrepreneurs take advantage of these moments of opportunity, magic will happen. And let me expand that on specifically relating to the three sectors that you have given me, about which I have some familiarity, and talk about it. But before that, let me also say, why is this a moment of opportunity? Why is now a time when many moments of opportunity are going to come? Now, the pandemic has been has had an awful impact on people. We know that, like economically, personally, families, societies, healthcare. I mean, the challenges that it has thrown up has been enormous. Humanity in the last many decades, perhaps 1 century, has not faced anything like what we are going through today. And I hope that it gets through quickly. Now, the flip side of it, and I am an eternal optimist, the flip side of it, I believe the pandemic has also opened up an incredible opportunity. Why do I say that? I say that because of these 3 reasons. Number one, think about it. I spend most of my time on education, so I will start with education as the first, hub or anchor. Look at education. We all knew that technology has to play a role in education. There was always an expectation technology will do something, but there was also enormous reluctance in embracing technology. The pandemic has changed, and therefore the acceptance of technology in the field of education has been accelerated by, I think, about a decade, right? As much as a decade. Extraordinary. Now, that's the moment of opportunity, the many moments of opportunity that will come up. Today, one of our own shining stars from Bangalore, Byju's, is valued at well over $16 billion. Just yesterday, they made an acquisition of an American company called Epic, well-known company, for $500 million. Now, these are they are an edtech company. These are numbers. These are actions that perhaps would not have been visible even 2 years back before pandemic. I'm not sure how much the pandemic had to do with it, but I think it opened up everybody's eyes to the possibilities of education. Right, that's number one. The second reason why I say acceleration of technology is the first one. Second, today, again, thanks to the pandemic, the behavior of people has changed and changed dramatically. Our acceptance of digitally serviced areas is today far greater than it was ever before. Now, you could argue societally, is it good, is it bad? I'll leave it for sociologists to discuss that, but I'm just stating a fact. The acceptance of digitally serviced, whether it's Ulas is in the consumer business, it's changed the makeup of consumer businesses, of consumer service businesses in particular, dramatically. Now, that's thrown up, big opportunities. And there are big winners. A big basket is, which is another one of our wonderful companies from Bangalore, has been just invested in. Majority stake has been taken over by the Tata. So you suddenly realize many of the bigger players recognizing what Reliance Jio has done with digital investments is well known. But I'm very specifically talking about Karnataka and the recognition that the kind of companies that Karnataka has started building again represents another moment of opportunity. So the first is the acceleration of acceptance of technology. Second, to me, the fabric that has been already created in the sense of the success of startups, and as you rightly mentioned, one of you mentioned, Bangalore is the second hottest, largest, most successful startup hub in the world, and therefore there is activity out there that is driven through opportunities of tomorrow rather than established culture of yesterday. And because the pandemic has dramatically shifted the whole thing, and Singapore is very similar. Think about it. A country which has looked at itself very differently than just about anybody did and tasted extraordinary success, is now looking at a state and has the opportunity to engage in a state which has made years of preparatory work with successive progressive governments, is years of preparatory work in creating this opportunity today, right? And the third and the last point is human capital. We have incredible talent capital out here. Now, we also, the previous speakers spoke about amazing connectivity, the fact that we have 2 international airports, 1 major port in Mangalore, and minor ports, and road network and rail network, and so on and so forth. I will add a 5th to that, which is the digital network. Access and connectivity, digital connectivity across Karnataka is amazing, right? I'm right now in my home office in the eastern part of Bangalore, and I have a 1 gig fiber coming to my home. And that's not unusual, right? This is not unusual at all. I'm not talking only about Bangalore. Across Karnataka, the government has worked very hard together with the successive union governments to create very, very strong digital infrastructure. Now, previously life was hub and spoke. I believe today with the opening up of working from home and alternative models being successfully explored, we are now going to have hub to mini hub to spokes. So there are alternate models that are coming up, and I think that talent capital combined with the potential of alternate models to me is the third opportunity. So to me, this is the reason I feel there is this wonderful base of opportunity, particularly between Singapore and Karnataka, and the fact that there are many moments, a wonderful foundation, and many moments of opportunity. Let me specifically speak about the three sectors. In addition to everything else the other speakers mentioned, another thing I wanted to add, Karnataka is a leader in education, particularly in higher education. Karnataka is a leader. Traditionally, it had had wonderful institutions, public institutions headlined by Indian Institute of Science, but supported by many other institutions, including Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore. Private institutions, the leading one among them, someone that I was involved with deeply, just by the Manipal Education Group. So there is a culture and infrastructure and framework that's available as far as education is concerned. And if you take EdTech, which is an area that I work a lot in, as another parallel path that's been going on, and it's important to notice that I'll come to this in a moment, and I'll connect it up with Singapore. Now, the EdTech part of it, the maximum number of EdTech companies, startups in India are from Bangalore, right? So there are two paths: very strong, regulatorily structured physical education as one path, and EdTech as the second path in Bangalore. Keep that in the back of your mind. Let's take Singapore. Very interesting. A lot of EdTech companies out of Singapore. Singapore has an education system which is outstanding. Just to take one example, I was speaking to a friend of mine who has done a startup in K-12 in Singapore the other day. Singapore government has invested, for example, in understanding the pedagogy of education, particularly by using digital education for K-12. Nobody in India has done that level of detailing. India has got 50 to 60 boards, as you may be aware. Each state is it's a concurrent subject to education in India, which means each state has got the power to legislate education, and therefore we have a wide number of boards, school boards in India, and none of them has gone anywhere near the depth the Singapore government has gone to. Now, here is an opportunity that is right there. Entrepreneurs who can engage with the expertise that has been gained, the pedagogical depth that has been gained in Singapore, tying it back to the sheer energy, size, and diversity that is there in India. Look at what can happen. That's just on K-12. There is a whole bunch of others that can be added on the tech side. Very quickly, I spoke about startups, and I'll round it up with technology as a whole. In Bangalore is the startup capital for several reasons, not the least of which is, in fact, I would say the most important part of it is the entrepreneurial energy and entrepreneurial capital, energy capital that exists here, supported by the talent part of it that I spoke about, supported by a venture industry, and supported by a series of government policies, again, not the least of which is the fact that the government of Karnataka was the first one to have a startup cell that focused on the startup side of it. So there is a number of things that have come together. Singapore has recognized it, I suppose. The fact that Singapore has got the maximum amount of investment in Karnataka is probably partially explained by the fact that the energy of startups is attractive to Singapore, and I think it's time to take it to the next level and move. There are a lot of opportunities that have come up. I'll round it off by quickly talking about other areas of technology, and then we'll open it up for questions. More interesting stuff will come up. Every aspect of digitally driven technology, you will find there are opportunities here. Whether it is digitally driven fintech, I think Mohammed Atta spoke about a number of other areas where the transformative nature of the digital future has already impacted. So whether it's fintech, whether it is health tech, I'm actually particularly extremely excited about health tech, which is a larger. When I say health tech, I'm including the services side of it as well as the med tech side of it. There is a whole bunch of opportunities that are going to be opening up on that side, as well as several other sectors. I think there is a very interesting future that's ready. So thematically, I will stop there by just reiterating what I started off with. there is a large number of years that has gone in creating a foundational preparedness, particularly in relationship to the connectedness between Singapore and Karnataka. I believe today there is a large number of moments of opportunity, and if entrepreneurs take advantage of any of and more of these moments of opportunity, there is a magic waiting to happen on a continuous basis going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anand Sudarshan. Thank you for your thoughts. Very unlike in the earlier days when digital was a subject in itself, what you find now is that digital is a thread through all sectors, all activities, and all areas, be it education, be it technology, be it entrepreneurs, be it enterprises, maybe not enterprises. It's kind of a thread which is applicable across all activities or all platforms. And it happens so that with education, which you talked about the acceptance of digital services in the country all across, which has made SMEs and industries, very more, I would say, fast track on, being able to grow their businesses in terms of being able to focus on their time for other activities, which was earlier very, very physical. And the digital network infra that is already available, especially in the state of Karnataka. So I think that provides a lot of opportunities. And I think both you and Mr. Attar also mentioned about the opportunities in all the various sectors, be it fintech, and all the more thanks to COVID-19, with the Medicare and the healthcare system that provides a huge amount of opportunities, and definitely across all sectors, from EVs to batteries to aerospace, aviation. All these are areas. There's huge opportunities for partnering with industries in Karnataka, for investments into Karnataka, and with the robust education, the R&D centers, the highly educated and skilled labor that is available, and the backbone of MSMEs that are already here in the state of Karnataka. I think it's a good place to partner and to invest and to grow. So with these thoughts by both the experts, I'd like to open it out to questions. And we'll ask you to also quickly introduce yourself and direct the question at the speaker. Thank you. Navita, can I request Navita? I don't seem to be seeing the chat box. So is there a mechanism in which I can get the questions? Or is it a raise of hands? Anybody from SICKI can tell us about? Yeah.
Ms. Uma Reddy.
Yes, Pooja.
Yeah, we will have the questions on the chat box.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Gunasekharan Sinha has raised his hand, and maybe we could start off with that.
Yes. So let's do that. Can I request Mr. Gunasekharan to please speak? Please raise your question, Mr. Gunasekharan.
It's
a lot of people.
I think he's on mute. Could you unmute yourself?
Muted.
Mr. Guna, you are on mute.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I'm Guna from Singapore. I'm representing
Yes.
Pixabit Private Limited. I'm involved in augmented reality, virtual reality, and higher education, especially using live streaming, smart school technologies from preschool to lifelong learners. One of the best places I always like to visit is Bangalore. And even before the pandemic, we came with Enterprise Singapore, visiting some of the good institutions in Bangalore. My humble questions to you all. How do we take part with all the Singapore framework from the education system or training network? How are we able to engage with the right institutions using technology? For example, we are specialized in using Nearpod for early childhood, also for designing content using augmented reality and virtual reality. So these are two areas we are trained, and also we are going into drone flying. I'm already engaging with a company in Bangalore to test out their drone system to come to India. So all these we would like to put it as a training providing aspect. How shall we do that? That's my question.
Thank you. I think I'll request Mr. Anand to respond to this.
Namaste.
So,
Education and training, and then afterwards, Mr. Atak would say.
thank you, Marshall. Certainly, I'll try and answer your question, Mr. Sinaya. Two parts to what you asked. One is in terms of AR/VR work that you're doing. So I'm interpreting that as if you want to expand the work, what kind of collaboration that you can make with institutions or enterprises in India. The second part relates to Karnataka as a market, institutions as a market for the institutions as a market. I think it's pretty easy. FICCI, for example, if you were to just take higher education as an area, FICCI is very strong higher education group, and it's driven centrally. The FICCI office in Bangalore would be able to direct you to the right people through whom you would be able to get in touch with many institutions, not just in Karnataka, across board, and therefore that would be a leg up. In Karnataka specifically, I think there are a number of institutions. Start with Bangalore, and Bangalore are the two areas which are two hubs for education. Hubli is a third. So you can just go to these places. There are a large number of institutions which would be interested in expanding there. And Mysore is the fourth. I forgot to add Mysore. So, these are the areas that you could just focus your attention on, and the institutions that would be pretty keen. And I do know that has happened in the past in cutting edge areas in multiple and augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality is certainly an area that they would be interested in, number one. The second part of what you asked is relating to who you could work with, and my suggestion is again, if you can engage with, FICCI Bangalore would be able to help you out. There are a large number of companies working on AR, VR, MR in Bangalore, some of whom could be potential collaborators for you. They may be working on areas now. It's not anymore a question of just AR, VR, MR as core technologies. Now applied technology. How do you create avatars of these technologies for respective segments, like the drone flying segment that you talked about in terms of training? It's an application side of it. And again, there are a large number of companies that you could get in touch with it. And I think FICCI Bangalore could be able to help you.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
answers
Anand.
your question, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
nutshell,
thank
yes.
you, thank you, Mr. Anand. Actually, we also have the National Skill Development Corporation, which is housed here in Bangalore. They have a lot of training programs that are providing the necessary skill sets for people in new technologies, and they are quite very, very active, and they have great number of schemes and training programs. I'll now request Mr. Atar, who might have something more to talk about training and the platforms that are available. Mr. Atar?
Could you elaborate on the question? Is the question more on the training platforms that are available?
Yeah, I'm training platforms that would support the technology in terms of available skilled manpower.
See, right now, there are multiple initiatives which across government entities, both at central and state levels, happening to train manpower. And I will not be very specific on whether this training is available, which the question is for. But for example, there are, under the Innovation Society work, which is getting done, a set of people are getting trained on various types of skills that are needed for people to be brought in. The government of Karnataka under Industries Department has also identified various mechanisms they have put up. For example, under the Sarthak scheme, they have set up a platform for training MSMEs around a set of skills that are needed. So if one just goes to these specific schemes and platforms which the government of Karnataka has created. For example, if the entity is more MSME driven, and I'm imagining people will be focused on electronics and tech sector. Within electronics and tech sector, if the training is more on, let's say, right from the assembly-based manufacturing to more R&D type work, or even, for example, new trainings have been created on enabling internationalization from a state. For example, if people are looking for how do we think about trading with a new country, or if we want to think about new investments or ease of doing business, even trainings around how to raise finance. There's a lot that is available. So once we are clear on what specific trainings, one can take a look at is that available or not. My sense is it would be available, largely driven by various platforms of industries department. Even one thing we will like to mention, along with FICCI, we are working helping MSMEs internationalize. So what we have done, we have created our own platform. It's called Profit. It is done along with another agency called IMC. It's a UK based firm. They are providing acceleration services and training of various kind for companies in select sectors like electronics, auto components, food processing, if they are looking for training on certain aspects, as I spoke about, which is on if they are thinking about exports, if they're thinking about technology interventions, if they're thinking about raising finance, some of those training courses are also available. I will, share some links of, those platforms as well. So one can simply look there are many sources of training right now available. It would be important for people to identify the right place and accordingly the right platform which they can leverage for their requirements.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attar. I hope it's answered your question, Mr. Gunasekharan.
Yep. Just addition.
Sorry, guys.
Huh.
Sorry. Miss Dr.
Yes, please.
Miss
Go
Uma
ahead.
Reddy, I think Navita is not here. She's not able to log. She's having technical issues. May I just request that we keep an eye on the agenda, because she was the timekeeper. We're like 10
Okay.
minutes over schedule, and this meeting is all about the 6 participants.
Yes.
To follow Mr. Anand Sudarshan's work, thousands of hours of preparation and one moment of magic. So I think if we can move on and do the Q&A later, if there are no more questions, Mr. Guna, because you have to present as well, right? You have your.
Yeah, I'll do the presentation later.
Yeah.
That'd be
So,
fine.
Surely.
Thank you. But
Manishi, I could
just
also
want to
log in
say-
through my phone. Sorry, my system is giving me some challenge with the WebEx today.
okay.
But yes, I'm just trying to relog in. But just to carry on with the program, ma'am, if it is okay, we'll go ahead and
That's
we'll request
fine.
the
That's
Singapore
fine,
companies.
Navita. And
Yeah.
Fiki is always going to be here to facilitate any such requirements for the
Right, ma'am.
entrepreneurs. So
Right,
just
ma'am.
wanted to say that. So over to you, Navita. And we'll
Surely.
have the
Thank you.
questions at the end of this for it.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. So just to move forward on the program, we wanted to start having some presentations by the Singapore companies. And I would now like to invite Mr. Gyanendra, the CEO of InfoTrust Singapore, to make his presentation.
Thank you, Navitaji. I'm Prashasti representing InfoTrust.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Prashasti representing InfoTrust.
Hi, Prashasti. Yes, you'll be making the presentation
Yes.
today, I assume. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
please go ahead.
Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Surely. Prashasti, I would just request that each of the presenters have been allocated 5 minutes time. So if you could give us an overview accordingly.
Sure, definitely. So
Thank
you. First of all, thank you, Siki and Fiki team for organizing this wonderful session. And also our honorable panelists, Umaji, Anandji, and Muhammadji for the enlightening session. I would like to propose our technological solution for the state of Karnataka, which is a technological hub for the nation and provides ample amount of growth and opportunity for the business. So giving a short introduction about InfoTrust, we started our operations in year 2006 as a IT consulting and services company, where we provide end-to-end IT solution, and our products and solution are designed to maximize the efficiency and value to the client's business. So starting with the first question, why InfoTrust can be a beneficial partner for the state of Karnataka. So as a company, we believe in delivering latest technological solution where we have our own products, which we have developed with the help of our experts in-house. And hence it provides us an option to complete control over the project and also on the cost. And we have a two solution, Exonsoft video surveillance and analytics solution, as well as teamwork business automation solution. So starting with our first solution, Exon video management, surveillance and analytics, as we all are living in a digital era these days, and we are using technology for our end-to-end operation and business needs. So therefore, the digital security also comes in a picture, that why we should also adopt digital security solution. So as we can see that CCTV cameras are installed everywhere in the country, in all the buildings and all the offices, everywhere CCTV cameras are installed, but they are just viewing. They are just medium which is able to see people. But with the help of our technology, artificial intelligence, we are giving a brain to them to perform better and enhance the security process for people and for the employees as well. So now I'm going to highlight the key features of our AI advanced video analytics solution, which can be the beneficial for the state for different industry verticals and how they can utilize this solution. So starting with the first feature, which we have a smart search and videos. So we all know that it is not possible for people to go through a 12 or 24 hours video every time to see what has happened. And it also hampers their bandwidth. Therefore, we have this feature where we provide people and operator to directly search on the recorded video, where they can monitor movement of good, track vehicle, employees, missing items, and count number of people, etc. They can also quickly search event of the interest and recorded video. So this saves their time and also helps them to investigate any urgent or suspicious matter very quickly. Then we have a face recognition, which is a very advanced tool and a very highly demanding tool in the market these days. These features help us to automatically identify a person in a video feed. Also, we can just estimate their gender, age, emotion. We can classify their facial attributes, their wearing glasses, head wear, mustache, etc. for the better security. Also, we can, as we all in a pandemic these days, so we can also check whether person is wearing or not wearing their mask, so that we also follow all the protocol for the security and also for the safety of people. Then we have a vehicle recognition feature, which is a platform where we can recognize the different vehicle number plates. It saves vehicles registration number, video, and still images, so that you can anytime go and check about the different vehicles movements, when they came and when they went. And also we can recognize these databases against internal and external database to keep a track for everything. We have a people and visitor counter feature, which can be very effective for the different retail stores, different schools, colleges, offices, and etc., where they can check the count of total number of people who has visited their buildings, stores, offices, and also they can have a data on number of entries and exit of people at a different time and different date. And these all the reports, daily automatic reports, will be sent to the operator to keep a track of all the information. The human and object detection features help us to detect a specific type of moving object, for example, human and vehicle. So we can count moving or static objects like number of vehicles in a parking lot, people on the sales floor, etc., to keep a track. Also, we can count different wares moving on a conveyor belt, which can be utilized, which can be helpful for the manufacturing units. The line crossing and motion detection features helps the organization to detect when someone is crossing a virtual line and their presence in a restricted area. So these features can be utilized for a high security area where the movements of people are very restricted. So we can check appearance and disappearance of people or items in the premises. Also, we can detect abandoned objects which being found for a long duration time. And last but not the least feature, we have external event support, which helps us to connect with external event systems like biometric devices, time and attendance system, fire and alarm system. So these different events captures help us to connect with this system, which provides us the data through cameras and through these events, where we keep a track of everything, and then we can monitor the different peoples through their time, their faces, their when they came, when they went, and everything can be done with the help of these devices also. Talking about some of the key features which we have done. So our solution gives us an option and opportunity to deliver the solution for different industry verticals. So our solution is not restricted to only certain points. These solutions can be adopted by all the industry verticals like hospitality, superstore, education, banking, logistics, railways, airports, safe and smart cities. So safe and smart cities, a current proposal by our government for our entire nation. Our solution can be adopted for these projects, and it can help Karnataka also when they are for their Bangalore smart city and other cities, also airports, railways, logistics. So these are some of the key projects which we have done worldwide. Now discussing about our another solution, which is a business automation solution, which provides a platform to fully automate their entire business process for the organization. These solutions have a features which helps you to enhance sales and ensure continuity, ensure wrinkle-free workflow, impart effective education, and also proven and excellent customer care. So we have three verticals for our CRM solution, where we have a sales, education, and health. As it was clearly mentioned by Anandji about the education sector of Karnataka, where they want to digitize the education platform. So these solutions can be helpful for the parents, students, teachers, and management. Also, these can be utilized for the healthcare, where our doctors are working continuously to provide the best services to us. So these digital platform can be useful and utilized for them, and also they can work, they have a hassle-free work, and which can save their time to monitor everything. So these are some of our valuable clients where we have worked and provided the services to them. So we have Nestle, Trends, Clearpack, Asian Tigers, Dexera, Olam, etc. These are customers which are using our solution in the video analytics vertical. We have ONGC, Titan, the corporate office is situated in Bangalore. They are using our solution. We have Indian Navy, Holiday Inn, NSI, Reliance, Anita Dongre, Nalco, and SBK Institute, and many more than that. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope our solution can be beneficial for the state of Karnataka.
Thank you, Ms. Prashasti. Thank you so much. This was quite a comprehensive overview. I'll now request Ms. Namrata Desai, Director, Ninad Global Private Limited, to give us a brief overview of two of their ventures. Ms. Desai, I'll request you to try and stick to the 5 minutes limit, please. Thank you so much. Ms. Desai, you will be presenting now.
I think you're on mute.
We are not able to hear anything. Is the audience able to hear Ms. Desai? Manish ji?
Nothing. Namrata ji, you are on mute. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I have unmuted myself. Yes. So very good afternoon, everyone. Very good afternoon, everyone. Greeting to Mr. Ullas Kamath, Ms. Uma Reddy, Ms. Muhammad Athar, Mr. Anand Sudarshan, Ms. Narita, Mr. Manish, Siki and Fiki team members, co-exhibitors and business participants. Today, we'd like to introduce ourselves. Ninad Global, Singapore registered entity having two business segments. We do provide global trade solutions and innovative IT solutions. NINA team members are experienced trade and techno-commercial professionals with background and past association with the prominent commodity houses and infrastructure companies. The team has consolidated their vast individual experiences, knowledge, and efforts to promote and expand NINA as a reliable solution provider for various organizations. Our venture Ghar Ki Yaad is a marketplace for unique Indian products. Ghar Ki Yaad pumpkins, snacks, dry fruits, traditional wear, silk products, leather goods, handicraft items, and many more to market in Singapore. Through our B2B and B2C marketplace, we aim to create a supply chain for the distribution of our vendors' product across Singapore with the hope to soon expand in Malaysia and Indonesia. The Singapore amounts to 3% of exports from India and is the fifth in the highest importer. And it creates a 8.3 billion USD in export trade for India. The commodities the trade potential we see is food exporters, basically from spices, cashews, cashew kernels, ready-to-eat food. Under fashion and lifestyle industry, there are silk products, ready-made garments, leather articles, handicraft. Historically, Karnataka has been a major exporter for commodities like coffee, spices, silk, cashew nuts, handicrafts, etc. In the last 2 decades, the state has emerged as a major player in the export of engineering goods, ready-made garments, leather goods, and chemical products as well. As a part of our solution, we do provide trusted, smart, flexible, sustainable solution, which is giving digital transformation, put the customer at center. That's our goal of company, to make our customers or our vendors, our suppliers from India to be a successful by helping them create a 360-degree view of suites of tools across sales, marketing, commerce, and many more other communities and many more other tools. And these tools are powered by Customer 360 platform. And it will be all advanced technology based on artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and all other platforms. As a part of e-commerce, Ghar Ki Yaad digital marketing solutions, we do provide email marketing across Singapore, social media marketing, pay-per-click, content marketing, search engine optimization, and of course, an engaging website too. As a part of Salesforce partner, we also do provide digital transformation with the customer 360-degree platform, especially using artificial intelligence powered Salesforce platform, being a Salesforce partner and across platform integration and implementing tailor-made solutions too. Ninath has been providing efficient IT solutions as part of its client value proposition for last 15 years. Under the Global Trade Solutions, Nina facilitates commodity trade through cross-border business partnering and structured trade finance solutions. Nina team has diversified industry experience with the leads to services of business advisory in the areas of business development, corporate strategies, and risk management also. Thank you so much. We would like to look forward to collaborate with Karnataka State's all vendors who are interested to join us and market their products in Singapore as a part of our Ghar Ki Yaad venture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Namrata ji. Thank you for a comprehensive overview of your organization's businesses. I will now invite Ms. Sharmila, Chairman of Valley Ventures, to share a brief overview with us, please. Ms. Sharmila.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody. Good to connect with you again. Coming back to, I'm Sharmila, the Chairman from Valley Ventures Private Limited. Thanks to Siki and Vicky for arranging such a good event. Coming back to Karnataka, especially Bangalore, I was there for 7 months during my college days. I'm literally addicted to your Bisibella bath. Looking at this presentation going very serious, but that's one of the famous from Bangalore. So from Valley Ventures, I introduce our board of director, Mr. Jerry Tan, who is in charge for business development, to brief about what we are doing and why we are here today. A small introduction about Mr. Jerry Tan. He has done a university degree in marketing and finance at the University of Oregon, USA. An entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of Solid State Lighting Technology Company in 2003 in Singapore. Developed the world's first LED projection display at the Singapore Sports Hub in 2015. The company won the award from Singapore government for Singapore Good Design Award. So he's our business development director. I invite Mr. Jerry Tan to take it from here.
All right, thank you, Shamila, for the kind introduction. Very good day to everybody. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to be on this platform and very exciting and interesting discussion here. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Value Ventures. We are actually a venture capitalist company focusing on healthcare-related investments and projects. And on this note, I'd like to dive straight into some of the key projects we are working on at this moment, which is the Aradana Medicity in Puducherry, India. The total project for this project is 1.3 billion US dollars. Phase one is estimated at about 270 million. The project duration of this project has actually started since November 2019, and we're projected to complete end of 2025. And for this project, we have engaged Juron Consultant India Private Limited as the project management consultants. Feasibility study has been completed, and the groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for next month, 27 August. And currently we're working on inviting and very interested to explore with local providers to explore some of the fields which we will be presenting in our video appreciation next. So without further ado, I would like to play out the video on this project. And if there's any interest, please do contact us and check us out on our website as well. Thank you. And we'll play out the video right now.
Thank you, Jerry. To everybody, Jerry just arrived from US on institutional quarantine period. So that is why he is not coming in busy.
Right.
So shall I share the video? The host permission has been given to me.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah. Shamila ji, we can't see it. I can hear the sound though.
Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me see the technical difficulties. I can't. My share button is disabled. I'm not able to share it. Pooja ji, can you play the video from your end?
Let me try.
If we are not able to share it because our share access is restricted from our side, please visit our booth. The video is there. You can know about all the verticals which we are looking for partners and local service providers to work with us. And we are open to bring similar project to Karnataka.
Pooja, are you able to share it?
She's trying. She's right here.
Okay.
Is it audible?
Miss Pooja, you have to disconnect your audio, this screen sharing, and have to connect again. Before clicking on share, on the right hand side, there would be an option to click include computer audio.
Bring your laptop.
I share first.
Just bring your laptop. You just bring your laptop. So just play. Just play. No, they can see when you put. They can hear from this audio. Just play.
Where's your?
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. So I apologize for the sluggish video. I think it's heavy on the sharing side. Like what we shared for the local providers on these various fields of technology and so on and solutions, please feel free to contact us if there's any areas that we can synergize on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Sharmila ji. I think it was a fantastic overview of the Aradhana Medicity. Would you like to add anything, Sharmila, before I move on and invite the next participant?
Thank you, Navita. It is okay. Keeping the time constraint in mind, it's okay. Thank you very much.
Surely. Thank you. I'll now invite Mr. Guna, the Director of Exhibit Private Limited, PT Limited, to share a brief presentation with us. Mr. Guna, please.
Hello, thank you. Guna here. Let me take a screen share. Yes. Thank you. That's a small introduction of Pixabit. What we are doing is augmented, virtual, and training programs development. Initially, we have spoke about that. We look forward to synergize with companies in Bangalore to take this as a real practical solution. We closely work with government agencies in Singapore. Let me go into my small PPT presentation. Pixabit starts as a traditional form to media need to upgrade. So we are trained by government department in Singapore for the last 5 years to obtain the knowledge as a skill future based company. So this is an overview, and what we are doing is connecting from young age to the older senior citizens. So we closely work with Darcast, Hobby, Google, even Microsoft. We focus mainly on video audio production, immersive experience with ambisonic sound, and also we do consultancy with augmented reality, virtual reality. We just moved into drone flying. Currently, we are going through the 1-year program by CIS to certify us as one of the Singapore-based drone flyer. Of course, this is our core values. Let me straight jump into what are the things we have done so far in India. We have taken part in InFit conference from 2011 until 2019, and also Thai Business Connect. That's where it brought me to Bangalore, and of course the same biryani I went through, and it was fantastic. And the hotel hospitality is good, and my friends, most of our friends are in Bangalore, and they are very easy to be get connected. Under Enterprise Singapore MRA funding, we are closely upgraded by them with all the funds to take part and upgrade ourselves globally. Even right now, I'm in touch with Bangalore and Chennai team to explore how we can connect with the business people in Bangalore or any part of the world. So I took part in Vibrant Goa. Goa, we have seen it as a tourist spot. So there's one spot called AR tourism. So that tourism also we are doing it with the Goa government. Of course, we have taken part in the Tamil Semmoli conference that allows us to do digitalization of Tamil content, archaeological to current education content. So these are my team. I could quickly go through with that. This is the two main partners I want to introduce. Hygiene's company in Chennai. They are involved in all the major productions right now of the Tamil Indian movies, I call that. So I do the color correction, VFX. I'm also a VFX artist. So I closely work with Hygiene's to come out with movies. Recently, Madhavan movie called Silence was produced, worked with them. In some of the parts, we worked together on the color correction. And for audio designing, I'm closely working with A. Rahman Studio in Chennai. So this is oral audio production. I'm trained by them under Arts Council. So I go there even virtually right now. We're doing productions there. The mixing is done by that team. So these are my virtual team production people. So value proposition is there. What I'm trying to do right now is that closely work with the community in Singapore. We just went into the phase 2 in Singapore. Although phase 2, we are still conducting the training and development. So whereas from home, the entire studio right now I'm working with is set up by PSG grant and this Enterprise Singapore support, and IMDA is doing that. So we are more better equipped than before. So all the support is given by government. So I'm looking forward to work with people in India, especially the high-tech city, Bangalore, to come up with education projects, development that we can do that together. So green screen production is very popular now. So we have a full setup of green screen virtual sets. We can convert anything to everything. So we're doing that in Singapore of major productions for many companies. This is my, it is a high-tech studio that operates from home, also to the studio that I see on the right side. Also, I'm using HoloLens to create the content. So from home to the studio to the HoloLens, all interconnected. The entire server is set up by government grant. Thank you. This is me, as Guna, as a director. You can contact me by my email. There is also my website, also the contact phone number. Please don't get offset by the plus number. Plus number is for Singapore. Any scams, we can derive it, right? Thank you so much and for this opportunity. I hope I can talk to you all further on the Q&A session. And thank you, Siki and Vicky, for giving us this opportunity to present Fixibit as one of your exhibitor. Thank you.
I think Navita ji is having technical issues again. Can't hear you, Navita ji. So I'll just go forward. So I think we have come to the end of the 6 presentations. Navita ji, I'll just go forward and move to the next part, just Q&A. Just a couple of important statistical points. 8,000 plus, Johnson and I just discussed about 8,000 plus companies are from India to Singapore, and close to $60 billion worth of trade happens every year, either this investment or that investment, either side. As we had found huge importance of Karnataka, Siki's duty is also to talk about the importance of Singapore. 3 points. Largest port, great financial center, but many people forget Singapore is a gateway not only to ASEAN now, but also to RCEP. That is 20 nations, right? And India is not a signatory to RCEP yet. So if somebody wants that 20 nations, which is about 65% of world economy, then Singapore is the place to have an office. Ease of doing business, number 1 in the world, or number 1 or number 2 in the world. I can't sell it more, right? And we've lived here 21 years. People understand how well it works. So if you have an idea, you want to become a unicorn, India is the market, but Singapore is the headquarters. That's the way we have to think. We have another session back to back. Maybe we just have time for one session, one question or 2 questions. It should come from the audience or the participants. We can't talk amongst ourselves, right? But if there is a question from one of the exhibitors, or Kishore Bhai, you are here. Kishore Bhai is the vice chairperson for my co-chairperson for Siki. Any comments, or anybody wants to say something, please? Just 1 or 2 questions or comments.
Thank you, Manish Bhai. I'll leave to the participants to ask their questions. Let them have a chance. Kishore on
Always
time.
spoken like a statesperson. Yes, always give the time to others. Great Kishore bhai.
Thank you.
So any other exhibitor, anybody from FICCI side, any question, guys, to how you want to create value in Karnataka?
I think what we could do, Manishi, I managed to finally log back in again. My system
Great,
is
sorry.
literally crashing today. I think I'll have to go for a
Sorry, I
system
was holding
change.
the fort. It's all yours now.
No. Thank you so much for actually helping us manage the situation today. But I think there's been quite a bit of an exchange between both the sides. And since the Singapore side also has another session which is planned immediately after, rather was supposed to start immediately after, which is a market entry to India session. So I think on this note, may I take the opportunity to thank everyone present here from the Indian side as well as from the Singapore side for giving us their time and sharing their thoughts about the opportunities that they see on both the sides and how the collaborations could happen. And possibly, if there are any further questions, please do feel free to write to me or please feel free to write to Siki. Otherwise, please do visit the Singapore Pavilion at the FICCI Annual Expo. I have just put in the details on the chat box as well. And feel free to have a direct dialogue with the exhibitors there as well. On that note, again, may I thank Mr. Ullas Kamath, Ms. Reddy, all the speakers in the panel, Mr. Manish Tripathi, Mr. Johnson, CEO of SICI, Mr. Kishore from SICI, everyone and all the esteemed exhibitors also are present here today. And we would possibly then move on to the next session post this. So thank you so much. And we'll all stay in touch and keep exchanging further information and exploring business opportunities forward.
So Purnima ji,
May I
to stay
request-
back. Sorry, Purnima ji is
May
a
I
board
request
member.
all the speakers and the
Yeah.
panelists to turn on their camera so that we can have a group picture? And yes, sir, there's a different link which is already being shared for the next session, India Market 1. So that is a
Okay.
different session. Please
Okay,
For the
okay.
speakers. Yeah, that's for the speakers. Yeah.
Log back
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so very much.
Johnson?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Oh, Johnson. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Namaskar.
you, everybody. Thank you. Great.
Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Are they sending us the pictures?
My apologies. I was facing a lot of challenge in my thing today. But thank you, Manish, for helping us manage it. Bye-bye.